we finally get to talk about an actual game for the 2023-2024 athletic season. We're going to recap how the football team did down in Creekside, Georgia. And we also got a special guest coming our way this week. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk prep athletics.
Floater too strong. Rebound tapped around. The three to win the game. No good. And Prep survives. The Marauders have won their first sectional championship since 2014. In the air to right field. Going back is Infante. He makes the play. And St. Peter's Prep retains its glory on the diamond. The Marauders are your 2023 Hudson County Tournament champions.
Wow, unbelievable turnover.
Jude Sargent.
Here's Jude with 9, with 8, with 7. Sargent scores!
In the gun, they'll give it to Giles. Makes the first man miss into the end zone. Touchdown!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode number 120. Sponsored, as always, by our good friends at D1 Media Pro. Not only, Justin, are they the number one live stream in the state of New Jersey, right? And not only number one in New Jersey. You know, we saw Mustafa Hoon. He was down in North Carolina. You know, Mallory Creek. That was a great game. Probably one of the national games of the week. Buford had a lead going to the fourth quarter. That would have been an epic upset, but Mallory Creek would win that game. So they go where they were. You had Kevin Connolly, our guy, Kevin Connolly. He went to Kane University, my alma mater, to call the Elizabeth and Linden game.
Offended I didn't get an invite.
I'm sorry. I mean, you can't blame me.
I know.
Yeah, yell at Kevin.
His fault.
But, you know, D1 Media Pro, watch them on the other Chess Network. You know, we have all prep athletics on there all the time. Unfortunately, not this week. You know, there's a couple games that we can't do, unfortunately. But make sure you follow D1 Media Pro on social media at D1 Media Pro. Make sure you watch them on the NFHS Network today. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am Renato Rodrigues of the class of 2010, alongside the co-host of Talking Giants, the one and only Justin Penik, class of 2016. Justin, how you doing, my friend?
How am I doing? Our St. Peter's Prep Marauders fell to Creekside by a score of 34-15. So I could be doing a little bit better if it was the other side, if it was the other way around, that we won 34-15. But no, we're going to talk about it. You know, Creekside's a tough opponent. We knew they were a tough opponent coming in. You know, obviously, I think you know, we wanted to win this game. We wanted to start the season off 1-0. We wanted to start off.
We predicted on the pregame show, right? We thought Prep was going to win.
Yeah. And honestly, there was a good chance that they could have. And in the second half, they had a 15-14 lead, and they had the ball in their hands with an opportunity to maybe go up 2 scores if they can add 7 points. If they can add even a 2-point conversion on top of that, it becomes a 2-score game. So, Renato, we'll talk about it. We also have the AD's corner is back.
Ooh,
and I
yes,
thought,
the AD's corner is back.
And I thought Coach Rich Hansen did a good job of summarizing the prep game and kind of what the team needs to do moving forward and what he's looking for the team doing. What the team needs to do going forward.
Right, and that was a great conversation. I can't wait to play that for you guys. It's a great conversation with the director of athletics, the AD, Rich Hansen. But first, you know what we got to talk about, right? Not the game. Can't talk about the game yet. We talk about the news of the week. So let's play news of the week. Prep baseball again. They're honoring. I know you had a lot with prep baseball when you're there, Justin. Way back when 2016. They're honoring head coach Pat Laguerre's 400th win. Right on October 16th, they're gonna have their first annual golf outing at Hendricks Field Club in Belleville. 12 o'clock p.m. is the start. $200 registration fee, and it's an open bar, Justin. So open bar, that's pretty good, right? Open bar is pretty good. $200. You get golf, you get a car, you get lunch and dinner. You can't beat that deal. So make sure you either Venmo or Zelle Joseph Haynes, or for more information, make sure you email the email address on the screen below, or you can text that number on the screen as well. Also, in other news in the prep athletic community, Prep Wrestling is honoring 50 years, Justin. The big 5-0. You see it there on your screen right now, 50 years. And they're going to get a kickoff and 50th anniversary celebration, which features a beefsteak dinner, trick or treat, raffles, and more. That's going to be on November 11th from the Oakey Commons at St. Peter's Prep from 6 to 10 p.m. $75 only. So if you want a little bit cheaper to support the program, you got dinner, beer, wine, and you got raffles. You got everything in. So we'll have that link for you on the app, which is the Eventbrite link, which you can sign up and RSVP for that event today. So, last but not least, in other news, what else do we got to talk about is St. Peter's Prep Soccer gets their own beefsteak dinner as well. Everyone's copying each other. Everyone's getting beefsteak dinner as well.
More food.
So, I'm down for more food. So, again, that's going to be on September 30th, 2023. They have glass of the beefsteak dinner, raffle, tricky tray. Details coming soon, so make sure you save the date on that. And Justin, one final piece of news. Do you know what that piece of news is?
Tell me.
Patreon, the exclusive home for
Oh,
all State of the Marauders athletic updates this year. How you feel about that?
I feel good. I feel good about that. Patreon.com/
State of the Marauders.
State of the Marauders.
Right. And again, only $2 a month, right? $2 a month. You get live updates from every game that we go to right on your phone, including you get the podcast before everybody else does, which is fantastic. I know you want to get the early details. You want to hear what happened with Prep Athletics throughout the week. So get that early details, get up updates, behind the scenes stuff, much, much more. So make sure you sign up today. Okay. So now, Justin, I think it's time to talk some football.
Let's talk some prep football.
So what was the score? 34-15?
Yes.
34-15. Let's go through how this game developed as a whole. We'll go to the scoring plays first for this one. And again, scoring plays is sponsored by, do we know who the sponsor?
You tell me.
No sponsor. They want to sponsor the scoring plays. You can come contact me. We'll talk about it. But scoring plays in the first quarter, Justin. We want to talk right away. The Marauders had an 8-minute opening drive. 8 minutes.
Yep.
Did they score?
No.
No, they didn't score. And then what happens? Creekside goes right back. 72-yard touchdown run from Travis Terrell, one of the 2 3-star running backs for Creekside. Gives them the early 7-0 lead. But then the defense came into play. You know, the linebacking core, Samad Bailey with Joe Stein on the edge, Marvel Davis, they get a forced fumble. Which results the Marauders getting the ball back. And then what happens? Jalen Klein, the first Marauder touchdown of the 2023 season. He goes 15 yards to the house. 7-6. You know, a couple penalties on the extra point against Creekside. So what do the Marauders do? They're going for 2. From the 1-yard line. You know, they had an I formation, which I don't think we ever saw a prep do I formations that often.
And under center I
formation with Joe Stein as a fullback. What does he do?
Punches.
He converts a 2-point conversion. He converts. I was like, what? Fullback Joe. Let's go. So that makes it 8-7 Marauders. But then things will get interesting. We talked about in the pregame how Creekside, they can't pass, but when they pass deep.
Yep.
And Eric Paul gets a 30-yard touchdown pass from Vincent Berry to make it 14-8 Creekside. But a little bit of a head scratcher by Creekside right before the end of the half, Justin, in which they decide to do a fake punt from their own side of the field. Which I was perplexed that they did that.
I think the thought process was
left.
Prep spent a lot of its timeouts at the time.
But they spent a timeout right before that play happened.
So I think they maybe only had one left. Maybe they had zero.
Yeah, I think it was one timeout left.
So they had one timeout left. There was less than 45 seconds to go.
Right.
So then maybe they can get aggressive and get a first down and try.
But
you
had the lead. You had the lead. You had the lead, and you're getting the ball back.
But Prep got the ball back, and nice stop on special teams.
It was a nice stop. I'm sorry. It was nice play on special teams. Good stop there by the defense. And then
this drive is probably the most promising drive that we have, like kind of from this game offensively. And that's not even me saying it's like a slight towards the offense. It's like this is what Tyler Bell was able to do and running this 2-minute offense was he orchestrated it very beautifully. And I'm very excited to see that out of this offense in this week 0 matchup.
So what happens? Tyler Bell goes for a 20-yard run, avoids like 5 sacks on the play. Yep. Scrambles to his right, avoids some defenders, gets 20 yards down the sideline. Then next snap, passes a 15-yard to Hassan Moore. The theme of the game, though, was flags. Flags everywhere. They ripped the helmet off. Another 15-yard penalty. Add the distance to the goal. Ball set up at the 7-yard line. 10 seconds left to go. Potentially the final play of the half. What Tyler Bell do? Avoids 2 sacks. Goes to the right corner of the end zone and runs it in for 7 yards out. Marauders have all the momentum going into the half. 15-14, Justin.
And then there's a long halftime.
Yes. Lightning delay in the area. Get about 20-25 minute delay. And then second half happens. Mars, defensively, they had a good start. Right? They forced a 4th down stop from their, I think it was their 40-yard line. So they forced a stop. And then it went downhill.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about what happened after that all went downhill from that point on. Turning point of the game there. But Roger McCrary, 63-yard touchdown run would make it 20-15. And then just a couple minutes later, Shane Kelly, he was the dynamic receiver we talked about on the pregame show who had all the catches for Creekside in their first game. He would get a touchdown reception from Vincent Berry, make it 27-15. Corey Blair seals the deal in the fourth quarter with a 30-yard touchdown, which the Marauders had a potential to stop him before he was able to get free, but 30-yard touchdown run makes it 34-15, your final.
So let's talk about the turning point of the game. Are we down for that? And then we'll get into some offense, defense, individual notes.
Yeah, I think we could talk about the turning point of the game. And do we have the sponsor for the turning point of the game?
No, I would be impressed if you kept pulling out sponsors. I don't know where we're now.
Yes, again, if anyone wants to sponsor this part, then please go for it. But turning point of the game, Justin, go for it.
Turning point of the game. Again, Prep is leading 15-14. 9 minutes to go in the third quarter. Defense gets a huge stop and a turnover on downs, like we said, after some really nice run stops by Samad Bailey and Joe Assign. Joe Assign took over that drive where he comes in, he has a tackle for loss. He has another run stop where he helps clean up some stuff. Joe Assign was at certain points of this game was certainly a man on a mission. So they get that 4th down, turnover on downs, the defense does, and they're leading 15-14.
Right.
In the third quarter, Prep offense is getting the ball back, and you're feeling
good.
You're cooking, right?
Yeah.
Offense, unfortunately, they go 3 and out. Drive kind of stalls. They don't go anywhere. Creekside gets good, favorable field position. Then a huge Creekside run goes to the house where you had the backside defender was untouched on the play.
I think that was the Roger McCrary 63-yard touchdown run.
Feel like maybe that backside defender could have had an opportunity to make a play. Joe Assign did a really nice job of pancaking the lineman in front of him. He can't get his hand on the running back. Safeties can't catch up after I thought that they did a nice job actually funneling the running back inside. And Renato, that was something that we talked about in the pregame show, is that the corners and the safeties, they need to funnel the running backs inside and not give them the sideline. McCrary was just
he was just going down the side. Just going down the sideline.
Super fast. And the safeties, even though they protected the sideline, McCrary was just able to beat him to the middle of the field. And then the offense kind of stalls again. And then you see the explosive pass play touchdown. And it felt like it was all within a few minutes within each other, where the game was 15-14, where Prep is leading. And then it turned into 27-15. Creekside, and that kind of did it all in the span of a few minutes. And that early part of the second half was the turning point of the game. And even on offense, Renato, we're going to talk about this with Rich Hansen as well in the 80s corner. What we saw and what I think the game plan was for St. Peter's Prep is that they started off slow. You mentioned that 8-minute drive at the top. We have not seen a slow, methodical, huddling offense for St. Peter's Prep.
I liked it. I liked it.
Yeah. I mean, and that may be the approach this year because of how many young guys you have on offense. You have a lot of new faces. Tyler Bell's a sophomore. He's super young. Let's get him comfortable. But, when we thought that we could get Creekside on their heels and start to go no huddle at the start of the second half, the advantage of going no huddle is trying to catch the defense on its toes and maybe getting them a little tired. But when you have a 25-minute plus halftime because of lightning in the area, then it allows those big defensive players to rest up and so on and so forth. So that game plan kind of didn't go Prep's way for a multitude of reasons. And obviously when you go 3 and out and you go so fast and then you give the ball back and you allow explosive plays, it just puts you in a really bad spot. And that's why if you allow explosive plays, you can blink. And then you're down 27-15 like they were.
Right. So let's talk about the offense, Justin. There was a lot of good things happen with this offense. Tyler Bell, as I mentioned, he had combined 150 yards passing and rushing. So he had a great first start, in my opinion.
Yeah, and really the main thing for me, and I'm glad that Rich Hansen agreed with me when I said this. The main thing that I wanted to see from Tyler Bell today was how do you manipulate the pocket? And how are you dealing with pressure in your face? Because are you going to take bad sacks? Are you going to be able to extend plays? And man, he did extend some plays, and especially extended them with his legs. And I am very confident that as time goes on, Tyler Bell is going to get more comfortable in the pocket with extending plays with his legs and then throwing the ball too. I definitely know that there are some throws that he wants back. Maybe some throws where he wants to fix up some footwork stuff and maybe not throw off the back leg and stuff like that. But for his first start, I thought Tyler Bell looked really calm, cool, collected. He was getting the ball out in time. He was keeping the offense on schedule as much as he could. So for a first start, and really dealing with the heat physically and metaphorically down in Georgia, I would say it was a success for Tyler Bell.
Yeah, he had a couple of overthrows, but you're going to get those jitters. You're going to get those jitters early on as quarterback. And I also then, either on the passing situations, he would find lanes because he couldn't find anyone open. So I like that he was able to improvise, use his feet, get those yards. It reminds me almost like a Brandon Wimbush.
I want him to slide.
I know.
He took some hits. He's a sophomore. He's still a young kid, but that's one of the things that I would be. If I'm Ofla, if I'm a offense coordinator Rhino Flaherty, I'm like, hey, we got to slide. We got to protect you. We got to keep you in the game. So I appreciate that he wants to take these hits and maybe fight for extra yards. But if you're in the open field, let's slide and let's learn to let's live to fight another down.
I agree. You know who also had a good game, in my opinion, on this offense? Speedy Jalen Klein, 13 carries, 75 yards, and a touchdown unofficially as the main back this year. I'm curious to see, Justin, if the Mars will use any of the second or third string running back because they didn't use them at all this game.
Right. I kind of think that ideally, when the game situation, when the game's maybe a little bit closer in the second half, when you're not, banking on, hey, we need to throw the ball to stay in the game or come back in the game. This offense is going to be ran through Jalen Klein, and it's going to be ran through the quick passing game, and even some screens. Jalen Klein did well catching the ball out of the backfield too, and some screens and making guys miss in that department. So even when he's not running the ball, he could be catching the ball out of that backfield, and some fun stuff could happen there. I'm hoping to see Jalen Klein be given the ball and maybe some swing passes, some plays where he can get momentum under his belt instead of him catching the ball when he's basically standing still. Because I think if you can get some momentum under his belt and some open field ahead, he is going to make the first guy miss. So he's a really exciting player, and excited to see what he's going to do in this offense this year.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see Jalen Klein. So I know you have some notes about the offense. Can I get some quick stats for you really quick? Some quick stats.
Yeah, give me some quick stats.
All right. So overall in the game, right? So this is overall. The Marauder offense, 163 yards on the ground, and then 74 passing yards. So that is a combined 237. My math's correct. 237. So not bad. But in the second half in particular, Justin, 36 passing yards, 24 rushing yards.
Yeah.
60 yards of offense in the second half.
Yep.
It's not good. It's not good.
Yeah. You had the game in your hands, and that's always a really tough feeling. I can speak as a football fan. When your team has the lead in the second half and there's an opportunity and you can smell blood in the water, and you don't capitalize. I mean, even just as a fan, it stinks, and I can only imagine you're probably having that offense reliving those drives, playing them over and over again in their head, saying what could have we done differently here to really take advantage of it. So because Creekside, even in the first half, they were playing a better game, but Prep had the lead, and because they got the 2-point conversion, and Richie Hansen has shown as head coach that he is going to be super aggressive. So, to give his team an advantage, whether it's an onside kick, whether it's going for two, he's going to give the team the advantage in the departments at which a head coach can give their team an advantage in game, right? There's not a ton that a head coach can do, with the decisions that they make. But Richie Hansen seems to always kind of hit him on a tee. So they had a lead 15-14.
They had a lead.
Couldn't capitalize them.
Right. Do you got anything else you want to talk about for the offense?
Yeah, I mean, I thought DJ Brown, he was a guy that stuck out to us in practice. He's a sophomore, number 5. He had a nice game. He made some plays. He made even some tight contested catches in the middle of the field on what looked like some curl routes, were being a little bit of a security blanket for Tyler Bell, throwing the ball into tight coverage. DJ Brown and Tyler Bell, I hope, are going to be a very fun connection, both with each other for the next 3 years.
I agree.
DJ Brown was a guy that's kind of unexpected because, he is young, similar to Tyler Bell. Like I said, both of them sophomores, but he's had a good camp. He stood out in the practice that we were at, Renato, and it translated to the game. So I'm really excited for DJ Brown. Hassan Moore with the ball in his hands is so fun. Continue to get Hassan Moore.
Oh, by the way,
the ball in his hands.
DJ is a junior, by the way.
DJ's a junior, excuse me. Still, 2 years. This is 2 years of fun, and I'm really excited about that.
3 catches for 25 yards. He had a great game.
And one thing I want to say just about the wide receivers in general, just judging on this first game and knowing that a lot of the passing offense is going to look different this year than it has in years past, where Champ Long has this insane arm. He has a D1 arm. He's going to Maryland. Where his average depth of target, it's it's past the sticks, and it's 12, 13 yards. This offense is not going to look like that this year. This offense is going to be about getting the ball out of Tyler Bell's hands quick, and it's going to be about basically utilizing the pass game as an extension of the run game. And what the wide receivers need to do is the wide receivers need to take pride in their ability to block. And if there's going to be a lot of these bubble screens and these swing passes that are throwing to these other wide receivers, if Hassan Moore is catching the ball, it's Dallas Reese, it's DJ Brown. If you're out there, you got to take pride in your ability to block. You have to take pride in it. It has to be something that you deeply care about, not just, I'm not getting the ball this play. You got to deeply care about it, and you got to get the job done, open it up for your teammates so then they can open it up for you. So, and I also want to give a shout out to Emmett Hawney.
Yeah, the center.
Emmett.
Honey. Yeah.
Emmett, let me know if I'm saying your name wrong, man, because I really want to get it right, because Emmett was a stud. He
Good.
little bit of an undersized center for Prep, but going up against a much bigger defensive tackle at Creekside, and he held his own. And I thought the grit and the effort that Emmett showed there, of even if you lose some plays here and there, fighting, gaining leverage and doing what you got to do to win the play, and again, live to fight another down. I thought Emmett did a great job, and center's a very tough position, important position on that offensive line. So shout out to Emmett, so excited to see how this offensive line, excited to see how Emmett develops for the rest of the season.
Should be exciting things in his offense. I see a lot of potential for sure, Justin. Now let's switch gears. Let's talk about the defense. Talk about the other side of the ball. Again, we talk about that first half, Justin. They had some good moments, some good fourth down stops. They had a fumble, forced fumble, turnover, things that we want to see on this defense, right? Forcing turnovers, get the offense back on the field. Again, that 8-minute drive allowed the defense to relax a little bit, which is helpful as well. What'd you see out of the defense?
Yeah, just allowing big plays, and I don't want to bang the head on that too much, because Rich Hansen did a good job in the AD's corner of that. But allowing big plays and not producing big plays on offense is the recipe to how you're going to lose a football game. And allowing big plays on defense is how Prep got beat last year, and it was the song remains the same against Creekside. But I want to give a shout out to a couple really good individual efforts. Marvell Davis forced a fumble in the first half, which was awesome. And Marvell Davis also had a lot of good plays at kind of like that linebacker spot. I think Marvell Davis needs to be the full-time Mike linebacker.
I agree. I want to see both him and Samad on the field all the time. You need that two linebackers. You need.
Yeah. I think the more run support you can get with your linebackers, the better. If you take linebackers off the field, then you're putting more pressure on your interior D linemen, and you're putting more pressure on your secondary guys to make run stops. And I think they work well together. I think Samad Bailey and Marvell Davis work well together versus by themselves. It's a tough responsibility to be the only interior linebacker on the field, and when a team's running the ball kind of right at you, you have a lot of ground to cover. But Marvell Davis, Mike linebacker, let's go. I thought he really played well, and I was really impressed, especially with his growth. And one of the things you want to see is growth from last year, right? And I think Marvell Davis from this Week 0 matchup showed that growth from last year. Kyron Grayson had one of the best pass deflections I've seen at the high school level since I've started watching the high school level, and really watching St. Peter's Prep in depth. Really nice pass breakup, end of the first half as a deep safety. He recognized the crossing route, pursued it, didn't hold the defender, and played the football as it came to the receiver. It was a great job. Renato, you were talking before. It's like, oh, did he get there a little early? It's like, no, I rewinded this 15 times.
Yeah, when I watched it live, it looked like he got there early, but you watched it behind the scenes, and it was there.
And it looked like it was zone coverage. I may be wrong with that. I wasn't looking specifically for schematic stuff, but it looked like it was zone coverage. And what Grayson did well is he didn't just cover grass. He covered the guy and the player that was in his zone. And he saw that, okay, I'm recognizing this crossing pattern. I'm recognizing that the quarterback is looking this way. I'm going to pursue this player. I'm not going to let him get open. And if anything, maybe he looked open, but Grayson makes such a good play on the football as it gets there without holding the offensive player. And that was a great, it was a very mature play out of the safety. So really great job. So yeah, that's my defensive notes, avoiding the big play. And, even when you're going to have opponents for St. Peter's Prep this year, they're going to know that they can maybe run the ball. I mean, that's something that we saw teams start to do last year. It's like, we're just not going to throw the ball because you can't stop the run. And that's the goal of every single football team, Renato. If they can run the ball 40 times, they're going to run the ball 40 times, even though passing may be more efficient. But if this is just how the game of football works, and it's football 101, if they can run the ball, they're going to, if teams can run the ball, they're going to run. But even if they do pass, these corners got to be ready. And I think that's something that you saw against Creekside, is that maybe sometimes the corners were taken for surprise when the ball was coming their way. You kind of got to, take every down seriously, like the ball's coming your way. So, hopefully this defense can, they had good moments, which I'm encouraged by.
They had good moments. They did.
But certainly clean up some of the big plays that they allowed.
Do you want to hear some stats? I know you love your stats.
Yeah.
All right. So, overall, Justin, okay? Unofficially, of course. These are all stats unofficial. They have 14 first downs, which Prep had 12 first downs. So that's about even, right? We talked about third down conversions, right? Creekside as a whole on third down conversions, 5 for 11. The Marauders were 5 of 17.
And what did I say before the game in the pregame show?
What'd you say in the pregame?
I said whichever team faces more third downs is probably going to lose the game. And that's a clear advantage for Creekside. 11 third downs face to 17 for Pratt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the biggest stat of them off on the defensive side, right? 38 carries. So almost 40 carries, like you said. 328 total yards on the ground.
Yeah.
If we do the math, because you know me, I love doing some mathematics on this. The average carry was 8.63.
Yeah, I mean, you had a 70-yarder in there, which you can't.
Yeah, I know.
No, but still, I mean, eight yards a pop. It's not good, and this is. I don't want this to be a trend again for this Prep team. So that's why
I don't want that either.
Next week against St. Joe's Prep, tough opponent. But
we'll talk about St. Joe's Prep later. But
no, but I mean, let's make them be multi-dimensional on offense.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, think about it. They only had 9 pass attempts, Justin. 9.
If St. Joe's Prep is running the ball 40 times, that means that they're winning the game.
Yeah.
That's usually what that means in the game of football. When you see the running attempts that are so high, odds are it's the team has the lead. So let's at least make St. Joe's Prep try and be a multi-dimensional team. That's my big ask.
I agree 100%. So hopefully they can do this next week. Hopefully we can make something happen against St. Joe's Philadelphia. It's gonna be a big matchup for us. But anything else you want to say on the defense before we move on?
No. I've never seen a team with such a problem keeping their helmets on. Tighten your chin straps. It's crazy. This has been 3 years. 3 years.
By the way, do you know who's the director of operations, right?
Oh, is that her friend?
That's our friend Andrew Watts.
I gotta have a conversation with him. This is crazy. Tighten your chin straps. What is going on?
But he didn't make
the field.
But he didn't make the trip down to Atlanta. So
hey, it's even games that he's on the sidelines too. So I'm coming at you, Andrew Watts.
Oh man, that's funny. Okay, so now it's time, ladies and gentlemen. It's that time for the 80s Corner. I'm excited to hear the 80s Corner, and we do have a sponsor for this, Justin.
Oh wow!
You know who's sponsored by?
Who?
Sponsored by the Chalk Talk Podcast. All right, Chalk Talk Podcast. Do you know anything about the Chalk Talk Podcast?
I do. There are 2 great people that host that show. They're friends of the program, some say.
I mean, they're really good friends of the program. They talk about everything in the athletic sphere, including, football, college football, any hot takes that you have. Something like with us studying with Bleedy Blue, Justin. Remember way back in the day?
I do.
So something like that, get the live takes. Follow them on Spotify. They get episodes hopefully every week. They've been a little last days ago on that, but hopefully they start doing some more episodes for you guys. So make sure you listen on Spotify, Chalk Talks Podcast, and make sure you follow them at Chalk Talk _podcast. So without further ado, it's time for the AD's Corner.
I'm Ignacio Mara alongside Jackson Briamonte. And, we're just here to promote an advertisement. Jackson, would you like to explain what the advertisement is?
Yeah, so we're here promoting our podcast, Chalk Talk Podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you can find your podcasts. We also have socials such as Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You want to follow those for additional content along with the podcast. Challenge videos, trivia videos, all that good stuff. We're just two friends that talk sports. We have interviews, cover the latest news, do hot takes, just all the good stuff in the sports world, getting it out there for you guys to listen and enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're just debating, hot takes, all that, and we'll be covering some Marauder sports this year too. So just check us out. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Chalk Talk Podcast. Enjoy the rest of your event. Chalk Talk out.
So, welcome everyone with a special guest here today, the director of athletics at St. Peter's Prep. Welcome back, Rich Hansen. Rich, how's it going today, buddy?
Good afternoon, guys. How are you?
Good. Question for you. How was the weather down in Atlanta? I know you guys went to Atlanta with the team. How was the weather out there?
It was Georgia hot.
Georgia.
Heat advisory Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And we kind of expected it. We had vapor fans and all the other stuff that you would need. And Joe Lasella and Caprice James did a great job with our guys.
The best.
But it was hot.
Yeah, I know. I saw heat index up to 105 during the day there on Saturday.
It felt. I mean, it didn't feel that hot on the field, to be totally honest with you. And to everybody's credit, we didn't have one guy go out with a cramp.
That's good.
Which was amazing. Yeah. So I thought the coaches did a good job, and the athletic training staff did a good job of prepping our kids, throughout the week to get ready for it.
But also, during the game, there's also a lightning delay, too. Right before the second half, there's about a 20-25-minute lightning delay. So do you think that had any hinder on how the team played in that second half?
It's a great question, and I will tell you that I think it probably hurt us more than we wanted to believe at the time. They had some big boys, and I think you started to feel it toward the end of the second quarter, so toward the end of the half. They started to get worn down and fatigued a little bit, and we thought, in a regular half, come out, go fast tempo, and get after them a little bit. But that halftime went on forever. I mean, that was almost 5 hour game, So yeah, I think it definitely. I don't want to. It helped them, I think, more than anything. But no excuses, obviously.
Right.
Yeah, and obviously you did see. I mean, we saw the offense go a little bit more up tempo and stuff that we've seen in the past in the second half, and then, the plan didn't necessarily go to plan just because of that really big break. But we did see Tyler Bell. It was his first start. I thought he looked calm. He navigated the pocket well, and football is one of those unique sports that it's really tough to simulate in the winter and in the spring what you're going to be dealing with in the fall. So I thought Tyler Bell for his first start did look calm, navigated that pocket well, navigated that pass rush well. Obviously maybe some throws that you want back for Tyler Bell, but tell me about what you thought of his first full start down in Georgia.
Yeah, I agree with you. I came away, with some positives, and that was the first positive on my list. He showed great poise. I know we'd like to have a couple throws back, particularly the one at the end of the first drive there, but I thought he handled himself really well, and they did pressure him. He did find some escape lanes, and he did make things happen. The sign of a really special kind of quarterback is guys that can make, chicken salad out of chicken poop, as we like to say, and he did. He did a great job. I thought he made some good throws as well. So, that's a bright spot for us. There are a couple other ones, but obviously we have work to do.
Right. And speaking of that offense, Rich, there was an 8-minute drive to start out that game. It was something I haven't seen the Prep offense really do, is just go slow tempo to start off a game like that. They couldn't convert. But what did you make of that slow tempo? And how do you think having two different gears or such for the offense will help them moving forward?
Yeah, I thought it was a great game plan. I thought it was executed to perfection in the first half. We took the air out of the ball and we shortened the game. We maximized our drives. Even the first drive, we held the ball for over 8 minutes. We didn't score, but it keeps the defense off the field. And I thought we did a good job of managing it. Obviously, you get the big turnover, stop them on a fake punt, and we were able to score, I think, in 3 plays there right before the half, and then take the lead on a 2-point after their penalty. So I think, I didn't see all the stats after the game, but I know that time of possession and number of plays run must have been overwhelming in our favor. So, again, I'm not involved with game planning of it, but it was a great game plan for the first half. I understand the mindset for the second half. Unfortunately, we had that long halftime that kind of negated what we thought the benefits might be. But still, whether you're going fast or slow, you still got to execute. You still got to stop them, and you still got to do those other things. So, it was excellent. It was exactly what we needed to do.
Yeah, I want to move to the defense side of the ball, and I feel like kind of a little bit of the Achilles heel last year with that run defense. Showed up a little bit with Creekside for sure. So, what's your assessment of kind of Prep's run defense and how they can kind of get better in that department? From the D linemen to linebackers, even the secondary, maybe staying in their lanes and being that last kind of line of defense and making sure that they're in the right spots. What's your assessment of the run defense, and how can they kind of beef that up a little bit?
Well, I think, listen, we built this thing 100 years ago on 3 things. 1, physical defense, stay away from stupid penalties on defense, and be able to, as you said, stop the run. Especially stay away from giving up the big plays, and I think that's what really we gave up a lot of big plays. I thought we played pretty good defense for a lot of the game, but there was a pop play here and a pop play there, and it kind of cost us. I think that we're young, and particularly defensively, if guys aren't young, they're young at the positions they're playing, or new to the positions they're playing. So this thing is going to take time. Our schedule is always unforgiving, and this year's no different. So the time factor is going to, we're going to have to quicken the pace on the maturation process on defense, especially. And I thought yesterday we showed some good signs defensively. Big Joe made some plays. X made some plays. I thought our linebackers at times played well and made some plays, but you can't bend and then break, right? It's a bend, don't break philosophy if you're going in that direction. And to their credit, they had some good backs. They were huge up front. All that stuff is in place, but you never want to have 17 penalties in the game. You never want to not capitalize on some things you could capitalize on. And I said to the coaches last night at team dinner, we didn't play well enough to win the game and still could have, which is, I guess, a good sign, but we're gonna have to play better defense as the season goes on, and I know everybody knows that, and that's what they're working on doing every day.
You mentioned that there's a lot of kind of new guys and new faces, and the maturation process is going to be kind of quick for this team. So, if there's anybody particular on your brain, tell me about some like new and up and coming guys that we should kind of be on the lookout for.
I think up front, you're always concerned about up front on the offensive line, and I think Mason LaFawn did a good job his first start as a sophomore. And you mentioned, Bell as a sophomore. I think those guys really, really did a nice job. And offensively, it's always about getting as much reps together as possible. So we just have to, get those younger guys to be able to play well and to mature. And I think on the defensive side of the ball, the leaders have to step up and lead, and have all those young guys follow. I think they will. I was, really happy, like I said, with Joe and some of the things that X did. And sometimes in the secondary, I thought we made some nice plays. But we gave up some big plays, gave up touchdown pass, gave up a couple big runs. Defensively, you have to be able to stop the big play, and I know that's on the board every week on coaches' goals. Then you couple that with, not capitalizing in 17 penalties. And, the thing about the penalties, any pre-snap and post-snap penalties are the ones you need to avoid. If there's an aggressive penalty in play, you can live with that. You can correct that. Can't correct pre-snap penalties and post-snap penalties. It's just stupid football. And, when you have 17 penalties overall, you're not going to beat anybody, never mind the number one team in Georgia in 5A on the road, So we have nobody to blame but ourselves. Not that we were outplayed or anything like that. I thought they're a good team, but they're not the University of Georgia. We had our chances. We didn't capitalize. Shame on us. And, we got to go back to the drawing board, and we don't have a lot of time. I know the coaches meeting today, and they put in their long day after a long weekend because the St. Joe's prep team is no joke. So things don't get easier, boys.
No, so let's talk about St. Joe's quickly. What do you see? They're the number 10 team in the country, Rich. They took on IMG yesterday as a big 17-14 battle there in the Battle of the Beach. What do the Marauders have to do in this game to try to stay competitive, try at least even surprise people, try to beat St. Joe's Prep?
Well, I think the first half game plan, you just press repeat and try to execute like you did, the way we did against Creekside. St. Joe's, you want to keep the ball out of their hand. They struggled a little bit offensively, so the focus of their week is going to be, to get their offense in gear. And for us, we have to be able to maintain a rhythm and on offense and stay away from giving up the big plays on defense. And, I'm sure that'll be the focus of the week. And here's the thing that, I've always preached to my teams. And so most of the coaches have played for me or coached for me. We need to worry about us. You guys just hit the nail on the head. Like, who do we need to look to improve? That's what we need to focus on. Every team we play is good. You go from St. Joe's and to different varying degrees, right? Then we got to go play DePaul, and then we open up, and the division. It doesn't get easier, so it makes no sense to focus on who we're playing. We have to worry about us, and those young guys have to come along, continue to improve, stick with the program, stick with the game plans, practice plans, work really hard, and it's going to happen. We're going to be a good team, a better team than we were the other night down the road when it counts, and that has to be the goal. Address our weaknesses, accentuate what we do well, keep improving, and when it's important, we'll be playing good football. I'm confident of that.
Renato, I have one more. I guess I'm kind of selfishly asking this because I'm just genuinely curious. How do you get? I mean, these are teenagers at the end of the day who are living and dying with every single game and every single week, and they have lofty goals of being a great football team, just like the coaches do, and just like all of us who root for prep football do. So, how do you preach that mindset of process? And it's about the process, and we're installing here, and we're getting better week in and week out. How do you instill that mindset of process? Even when you have kids that are living and dying with the result every single week.
It's a great question, Just. I think Hansen 3 has done that over the course of the off season. It's not something you do with your team overnight, right? So it is about the process. It is about us. It is about getting better. I'm sure they're disappointed. Kids are kids and coaches are coaches, and everybody's kind of upset with the one we let get away. But I think honestly, you gotta have to play this game, man. You gotta be tough, and toughness means a lot of different things to a lot of people. But the number one attribute has to be toughness in terms of put it away, put it to bed, put the blinders on. We got to be tough enough and be resilient enough to have a great day tomorrow and have a great week. And regardless of what happens next week, we have to come back on Monday and do the same thing all over again. So. That's toughness, and it's hard, but that's a lesson of football. It's not like basketball where we could have played today and got washed it out of our system, or soccer or whatever. You gotta, now you gotta live with that for a week and learn from it. And I think that's the great challenge for coaches, and for players. How do we retool, rebuild, go back to work, look at the good stuff, build on it, correct the bad stuff, and be tough enough to come back and keep our eye on the ball.
Rich, thank you so much once again for coming on this week's edition of the 80s Corner. We always appreciate you coming on. Hopefully next week when we hopefully come back and talk again, we talk about a prep victory, upset victory over St. Joe's Philly. I'm down for that.
Amen. I'm down with that too. I'm confident.
Thank you to Director of Athletics Rich Hansen for coming on this week's 80 Corner. Justin, we love having the big man on all the time. It's great that he's finally back for football season. I love getting to hear his thoughts and analysis.
Yeah, it was actually the first time that I talked to him for an AD's Corner.
Yeah,
too,
usually
so
just me and him. Usually, yeah.
It was cool getting his perspective on prep football, and hope to be chatting with them again soon.
Right. So hopefully next week we can talk about a prep victory against St. Joe's Prep. Let's talk about St. Joe's Prep. Number 10 team coming into this week in the country. They took on number 3 team IMG at the Battle of the Beach, Ocean City. And boy, that was an instant classic. 17-14 IMG won, but boy, that was a great game. But something that I noticed, I don't know if you want to hit on this, but the St. Joe's offense was not as impressive as I saw them from last year.
IMG's a very good opponent.
That's also true. That's true. IMG's a good opponent. That's also true.
Like IMG St. Joe's Prep is like prime time, like television. Like you want to gather around and watch a game like that. I actually am really looking forward to watching that game because I'm not even going to be calling that game, the St. Joe's Prep and St. Peter's Prep game. I'm not calling it, but I still want to watch that IMG St. Joe's game simply from an entertainment standpoint. And
Right.
it was a different kind of high school game where it wasn't like a 38-35 victory or a defeat. It was a 17-14. So this was a defensive battle. And, one of the things that you heard Rich Hansen say in the AD's Corner, that after only scoring 14 points against IMG, that St. Joe's Prep is going to want to come out and score some points against St. Peter's Prep. And they did last year. They scored a lot of points last year against
A lot of points. What was it 55, I think? 55-14?
It got close to 60.
Yeah. So hopefully it doesn't happen this year. We want Prep to win. We need Prep victories.
Or you can win 62-60.
Listen, I don't care what the score is. I want to win, Justin, okay?
Yeah.
I want to win. All right, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to do it for another episode of the State of the Marauders podcast. I want to thank once again Justin Penik, class 2016, co-host of Talk Giants, coming on. I'm excited to see this team play next week, Justin. I'm excited. It's a big game. You got to scratch what happened against Creekside out of the window. Scratch that out. Focus on this week. Have a good game plan. And when are you back again? The pregame show?
I'll be back for the pregame show.
So the game is going to be 7 o'clock Saturday night in the Mid-Atlantic Pigskin Classic down in Delaware. So we'll try to get Justin off of the pregame show. We'll see if we're going to do a watch party or we should do social media updates. But again, sign up for Patreon. There definitely will be a Patreon. So sign up for Patreon. We got about 12 to 13 subscribers so far. So
Whoa.
it's good. Yeah. Yeah, it's growing. So make sure you sign up for that today. Again, I want to thank you all for listening to the episode. And Justin, what do I always say before we end the episode?
Let's go.
Go.